Welcome to my channel. My name is Leticia. This is the Ver Que Pasa podcast. Have I got some chisme for you guys? My last episode was from last Friday after I worked out at the gym, and I talked about the day before, Thursday, when I had the 2 dates back to back. So anyway, today since then, I've had 3 dates face-to-face and 2 FaceTime connections. So I'm going to talk about what I've learned talking with these 5 very nice men. I'm going to call them friends, okay? And I've changed their names just so I can respect their privacy, okay? So the ongoing theme are 4 things that all of these 5 men have shared with me. Okay, so the recurring themes that are important to them and where they seem to have failed in their previous relationships are with vulnerability, communication, physical intimacy, and partnership. So let me start at the beginning. My first date on Saturday was a coffee date, and this was actually a man with whom I had connected December of 2023. Shortly after that, he had a tragedy in his family, so the time just seemed to get wider and wider, that gap. We didn't connect. Well, he reached out to me on one of the dating apps, and I already knew that he had 4 daughters and that the youngest one, who's now 16, he had sole custody since she was 2 years old. I knew all that. He lives in the same small town where I live, so I thought that was convenient. So we met for coffee on Saturday, and I was really shocked to see him because he had lost a lot of weight. So what happened is that he had neck surgery about 6 months ago or 7 months ago, end of last year. He's recovering from that because it was a major, it was major, the way he described it. And I thought, wow, no wonder he's walking slowly. He says he's doing great. All of the exams and analysis have been very positive for his healing and recovery. But 4 months ago, he was diagnosed with cancer. And since then, he says he's in remission. He went through, no, I'm sorry. I got the times mixed up. 4 months after, so April of 2024, he was diagnosed with cancer. Last Friday, before our date, he was given a thumbs up report saying from his doctor, which told him that things were looking good and that he's doing okay. He has no cancer in his body. I'm not sure what type of cancer he has. And on Saturday, when I asked him, "Are you in remission?" and he says, "My doctor has never said that I'm in remission, but everything looks great." So that's a little red flag that stuck in my mind. We had a 4-hour first date, which was really nice. It was a coffee date at 10, and we ended staying there till 2 o'clock. Oh, I'm sorry, my eyes full of something. So that was nice. And since then, he's been texting me, he's been calling me. So we've been talking Sunday, Monday, every day this week. So I like him. We had an initial great first date, but there's something that I will bring up at the end of this episode. Okay. The second gentleman, I had a coffee date on Saturday morning with him. First meeting, very nice guy, no kids. He's been divorced almost 5 years, which I really like. He's successful. He's nearing retirement age, so he's in his maybe 62, I believe. He made me laugh a lot, so that was a good thing. So we've been communicating also via text, and sometimes he'll call me just for a quick hello, how you doing? So I really like that attention. He was married for 16 years. What he told me was that his wife, his now ex-wife, was a princess. And when I said, can you elaborate a little bit on that? He said, yes, I provided a great life for her. In 16 years we were married. She never worked. I owned 2 businesses. So I gave her everything she needed and more. We took trips. We have a nice home, but she never wanted to get dirty. And I said, what do you mean? He says, well, I had a shop where I would work out from. She never spent time with me there on the weekends. She never hung out with me while I mowed the lawn. She never hung out with me while I cleaned the garage. She never hung out with me when I did the grocery shopping. She was inside on her phone. And I thought, okay, when did this start? And he said, oh, after about the 2nd year. And I thought, okay, so for 14 more years, you allowed it. You stayed in that marriage. And he says, yep. And I said, why? And he says, well, because I loved her. I really loved her and I wanted to work things out. Guys and gals, how many of you would have stayed, guys particularly, how many of you would have stayed in a marriage for 14 more years if your wife did nothing to help you in any way? No chores, distribution. Of course, she did the cooking and probably the cleaning, but where he spent most of his time was outdoors in his businesses, just hanging out, garage, doing guy things, and she never helped. Even just to keep him company. He said, I would have loved if she had gone out there on her own without my asking, hey, I need help. Can you hold this for me while I hang this or whatever? She never went out there just on her own. If I asked her to help me with something, then she would go, but it was short-lived. Only during that time that she was helping me with the task at hand, then she would again come inside and just hang out on her phone or watch TV. And I thought, okay, well, you loved her, so you put up with it. And he also said that their communication was not great. And I thought, well, what do you think? He says, well, I guess she lost interest in our relationship or in me. And so I asked him, and be honest with me, did you put effort into, doing nice things for her? And he says, I think so. My love language is acts of service. Like I would make sure that her car was always fueled up. If it was cold every morning, if she had to go somewhere, I would make sure that the car was warmed up. I would make sure that everything was ready and aligned. If she needed something from the grocery store, I'd stop by so she wouldn't have to leave, whatever. I was trying to do things for her, which I probably should have told her, hey, I'm not liking this. I don't like the way we are not communicating. But he didn't. So I think that was on him. And if she was, I don't know the lady, so I can't speak badly about her. Remember, guys, I'm only hearing one side of the story, right? So I don't know. He seemed like a good guy. He's been single for a while. And all I know is that she didn't help him. And their communication was almost non-existent. I've got my 3 pups here around me. My little pit bunny is right here on my lap. Si's asleep and Bucket's asleep on my bed. But anyway, so that was date number 2. On Monday evening, I met the 3rd date, for coffee. I'm going to call him Jerry. Okay. Jerry's a nice guy. He has been divorced 13 years. We've each been divorced about the same amount of time. No kids. He said it just never worked out for them, although he and his ex-wife, they tried for many, many years, and then they just finally gave up. So I said, well, guys, I'm a good listener. So I listened to his story. Well, I probed him with questions. How was your marriage? Well, it started off great. No, Bunny, stop, baby. It started off great. And again, this is another man who worked endless amount of time. He worked long hours in order for his wife to stay at home and to take care of him. As in, when he got home from work, he expected a warm meal. Sometimes she had the meal, dinner ready. Other times when he'd get home, remember, I'm only hearing one side. I don't know what her side of the story could be. But he says, yeah, sometimes I get home. I've been working 12, 13, 14 hours. I was beat. And she says, oh, I didn't feel like cooking. Can we order out or can we go out? And he'd say, I just got home. I left in the dark. Now I'm home and it's dark. I'm beat. I do not want to go out to dinner. That's the last thing I want to do. So he'd order pizza or eat whatever's in the cupboard. And I said, well, when did this start? And he says, oh, about 4 years into it. At first, she was going to get a degree in cosmetology, and that didn't work out. Then she wanted to get another type of degree. I think, I'm not even sure. He said something, but I don't remember. I probably blocked that out after I heard, oh, well, she never cooked for me. And so he said, this idea fell through. Another idea she was excited about, she never followed through. She didn't go to school. So after 4 years, we sort of started to drift apart. And they were married for 12 years. So for 8 more years, he continued to not have a consistent warm meal. She did not make lunch for him. He bought lunch out in the field every day. So he would have liked a warm meal when he got home or something, but his wife was not providing the warm meal. I'm listening to all of these truths, or the truth that I imagine these men have no reason to lie to me. It was our first date. Maybe we're all trying to be our best self, which I get that too. However, I don't know, when you look into somebody's eyes and they consistently hold, eye contact, I want to believe them. So I want to believe these men who are telling me these stories. And sometimes you hear a little catch in their throat because something that, they thought about or hadn't thought about in a long time has, I'm asking these questions and maybe they hadn't thought about this for a very long time. And now all of a sudden they're thinking, oh man, that was 12 years of my life that I wanted a home cooked meal, that I wanted to come home to some laughter, that I wanted to come home to a hug, and that wasn't happening. Okay, the other guy, which I'm going to go back to him, the second one, I'm going to call him Ben. He was married twice, no kids. His first wife, she did have 2 children. I think they were 8 and 10 back then. Now they're adults. And they lived together. So he said the kids never called me dad, which I understand, that's fine. But the father of those children did not like the fact that they were living together and that Ben was a constant in the kids' lives. So he said that caused friction because at first we were getting along until I met the ex-husband, the father of the children, and he sort of started to put things in their head and created a rift between the kids and I. He said, so that caused problems, a little bit of problems, because my wife, she always took the sides of her kids. And he says, I never had kids. I try to be a good role model. I get it. However, she and I were married, which means that we became a unit. And ladies and gentlemen, when you find your mate, when you find your life partner and you get married, whether they have grown kids or not, remember one thing that I learned the hard way, and I'll tell you that in just a minute. Your partner, your husband, should be your main concern, not your kids or your mom or dad or sisters. No, it needs to be your partner. Your husband is who should come first, whether you have kids or not. Your partner should come first. He is your priority. The children come next, and after that, the family and everybody else. But your husband should come first. And guys, your wife should come first once you're married. That's your priority. So let me tell you what happened to me, only because I want to be transparent. When I was married, I put my kids first, and I didn't see it. Only my middle sister, she did say, Letty, you know, you're putting your kids first, and your marriage is going to suffer. Your husband's going to get tired of it. I hear you telling me when I call you, oh, I'm going to soccer, but my husband is at home watching TV. She'd always tell me, Letty, take care of your marriage. Take care of your marriage. Your kids will grow up and they will leave you, and you're going to be alone. And I didn't believe her. In the back of my mind, I sort of kept that, but clearly it was something that happened because later on, after I was divorced, my ex-husband, who is now a good friend of mine and still a great dad to our kids, said to me, do you know one of the problems was that you never had time for me. You always put the kids first. So you guys that are listening that are my age, that have grown kids, when you find your boyfriend, when you find a great gal or a great guy, and they become your boyfriend or girlfriend, and even hopefully those of you that want to get married, please learn from my experience. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who put their kids first and now is alone for that mistake. That was a big mistake I made. And he told me, he was honest. He says, look, I wanted to be a priority and you didn't. And guess what I did? Did I argue with him? No, I did not argue with him. And it hurts me to think about now. I did not argue with him because he was telling the truth. I owned up to it. I took accountability. I said, I know, and I regret it. I regret putting the kids first because look at me, I'm an empty nester. I've been alone almost 3 years. My son is a junior. In August of this year, he would have been gone to school 3 years. So I've been literally alone in my home with my 3 dogs now for 3 years. I've been divorced 13 years and I've only had one relationship. And I look back on it and I said, if I could go back and do things differently, I would. I would do things so much differently. I would listen to my sister and I would do things differently and put my marriage first before the children. Anyway, going back to Ben and the 2 stepkids. So once their dad got in their ear, things started to change. And then that's when problems occurred between Ben and his wife. And he says, and you know, she always took the kids' sides, even though I was trying to be a good role model. I was trying to set a good example for the kids. And she would override my decision on something, on screen time, on curfew, and other things, whatever happened in those 12 years that they were married. And I thought, I get it. You know, I get it. I was listening to him because some of that rang true. Like, Okay, she should have listened and been more cohesive with Ben as opposed to taking the kids' sides. Because now her kids, I don't know if the lady is now remarried, but the kids are grown, and Ben is not with her, and I don't know if she's married. She may be. He says that she was a gorgeous lady, great, educated, hardworking, a great mom, but put the kids first before her marriage. So ladies, please, and gentlemen, please put your spouse, put your boyfriend, put your girlfriend first. When you find that special person, put them first, because they deserve to be in first place. Okay. Another thing that okay, so Ben divorced that first lady. He was single for 2 years, and then he married another lady. She didn't have any kids, so they were married, because Ben is 65 now. He's about to be turning 66, so he had 2 long relationships. His second marriage lasted only 6 years. They tried to have kids because she was, I think, at least 10 years younger, but it didn't work out for whatever reason. So he says that the problem with his second marriage is that she didn't like physical intimacy. When I talk about physical intimacy, guys, it's not just about sex or rolling in the hay or a quickie or whatever. It's not about that. It's about physical touch. It's about holding your partner's hand when you're at HEB. It's about going outside when your man, or, well, in this case, when your man is out there in 100-degree weather and he's mowing the lawn and it's so hot and he's sweating and he hasn't asked you for anything, but you know it's been hours since he's come inside, and you're in your house just cool like a princess, and he would appreciate a nice cold glass of tea, lemonade, water. If he drinks, maybe he wants a beer. If you go outside, he's working on the car, on your car, and he's all oily and greasy and dirty, go out there and kiss him, hug him from behind, hug him, show him some affection. Ben said that his second wife, she never touched him, as in she never touched his arm. She never held his hand. She never kissed his cheek. Can you imagine? I can't imagine. I cannot imagine having a partner and never wanting to be close to them. This might be because, no, it isn't. With my husband, I was very, very touchy-feely. That's who I am. I would hug him when he comes home from work. I was never a great cook, but I tried so hard. We were married for 14 years. I tried my best. And I was never cold with him. I gave him attention and love and kisses and hugs, but he was in second place to my kids. So Ben, he says, we even went to therapy because I wanted her to see my side. Well, they went to 18 sessions. Now, I don't know how often, but they went to 18 sessions. And then on the 19th session, she went in there and said, this isn't working. I want to discontinue. So she signed a waiver which said that she would never return to the therapist, but Ben continued with a therapist. Oh, wait a minute. I jumped the gun. During those 18 sessions, their homework on the weekends was for them to do something fun, whether it was take a walk, go to the park, go swimming, go bowling, watch a movie. But the test for her was just to touch him. Somehow touch him, his hair, run her hands through his hair, touch his beard, his face, give him a kiss, a peck. And during that time, during those 18 sessions, she never did it. She never did it. They'd go to therapy, I think, if I remember correctly, either Monday or Wednesday. And the first thing that the therapist would ask how did it go? And Ben would say, she didn't touch me at all. And the therapist would ask, this entire weekend from our last session, she didn't touch you, she didn't kiss you, she didn't nothing. And he said no. That was shocking to me. That was shocking, because here is a 65-year-old guy who still looks great. I can imagine what he looked like 10 years ago. You know, maybe a little bit thinner, maybe less gray, but probably in his prime, and his wife didn't touch him. That's baffling to me, to somebody who's Latina. I'm hot-tempered, but I'm also very passionate. When I love so hard, and I love so strongly, and I love kind of greedily. And I can't imagine having a partner, a husband, who I don't want to touch and kiss all day, every time I see him. So yeah, he said that was a part of the problem, and then he just towards the end, he just sort of said, you know what, I have two options: either put up with it and know that no matter what I do or say, she's not going to change, or leave. So they were married 6 years, and he finally said, you know what, I'm done. And so that was that. The other, so I had 2 FaceTime dates. I guess you could call it a date, because I wanted to see these people on the phone before I actually agreed. I'm not even sure why. They suggested, and I thought, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. I'm glad I did. One of the men, I hope that I can meet him within the next 2 weeks, because he lives about an hour and a half out of Austin area. So he seems interested in driving this way, so I'm thrilled with that. The other man loves. The other individual lives in the Austin area, so he's also interested in meeting. I think we're going to meet for coffee in person on Sunday. I'll let you guys know how those go. But anyway, what I got from them and just the FaceTime is that I'm trying to look at my notes, because sometimes there's a lot of information. Oh, vulnerability. Yes, that's right. So the gentleman who lives an hour and a half away, I really like him. We connected. He's handsome. He's older, 66, which is 10 years older than I am now. But he has been good to himself. He works out in the sun, and he still looks really great for his age. So I mean, he's cute. He's handsome. He's a handsome man. He's been divorced 10 years, and he says it was an amicable divorce. He says, I don't have anything negative to say about her. She's a great gal. We just grew apart. And so, but one thing that stood out from our FaceTime conversation was, first thing he said is vulnerability. We were married for 28 years, and during that entire time, pardon me, I never felt that I could be vulnerable. And I said, well, what does that mean? He says, well, I was the provider for them. We have 3 grown daughters, and she worked part-time if she wanted to, but she really didn't have to work. But the moment I come home, she starts to tell me about her day. She never asks, how are you doing? Are you feeling sick? How was your day? How was your transactions? How were your employees, or whatever? He said, I never felt that I could be vulnerable. And he said, so now what I'm looking for in a partner in this next chapter of my life, I'm looking for someone with whom I can be vulnerable. And I said, well, what does that look like to you? He says, well, if I'm having a bad day, or just if I'm feeling fearful of my goals, or getting older, or whatever it is, whatever I want to talk about, and I want to talk to my partner, I want to feel like it's okay. I want to feel that I can be truthful about, I'm getting older, my body's changing, am I going to feel attractive in a few years? All of those things. So I thought, wow, that's really cool. So the fact that he was expressing and being honest with me about vulnerability, I thought, you know what? I dig it. Most men, this is a guy he's 6'4". He's a big, hefty guy, kind of husky, clean cut. As I mentioned, he's 66, so he's older. And of course, I'm 56 and I worry about my body, and I worry about, like, oh my gosh, and will I ever be ready for intimacy? Will I ever be confident enough to be intimate with a person? I'm working on that. I am a work in progress. I'm working on that. But this guy, he's talking about wanting to be vulnerable with his partner, wanting to share, you know what, I'm insecure about this thing. I'm not sure about this thing. I'm fearful of this, whatever it is, whatever topic, he wants to be able to feel safe and feel that he won't be judged because he is a man. He's supposed to be strong and all that bullshit. Men can cry, that it takes a real man to be vulnerable and to be able to cry if his best friend or one of his parents or somebody close to him passes away. It's okay. I could never understand who created that theory or I don't know, belief that a man can't cry. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. I raised my kids, both of my kids and my son, to be able to cry and be vulnerable. And I hope that you guys listening, whatever age you are, if you're not parents yet, please allow your kids to be vulnerable. Your sons, allow them to cry. Don't call them sissy. Don't bully them. Dads and moms, don't. If your kid falls off, if your son falls off a bike and starts crying, don't be mean. Let him cry and say, son, you know what, it's okay. And hug him, give him a hug. This is what happens to guys when they're little boys. Their parents are tough or somebody criticizes them and they grow up to think that they can never express themselves. That is wrong. That is the wrong strategy. Boys need to learn that it's okay to cry. And girls growing up need to learn that it's okay if they want to be tomboys and they want to fix cars and they want to climb trees and they want to play with toy cars and all of these things. It's okay. It's okay for the roles to be reversed, for boys to cry if they fall off their bike or if they break a tooth or an arm or something, fall off the trampoline. And girls, it'll be okay for them to play with toy trucks and wear boots if they want to, or coveralls, or whatever the heck. Guys and gals who will have kids or are raising babies right now, just remember that. Remember what it was to be a child and for something traumatic to happen to you and for your dad or mom to say, oh, don't be a sissy, just get right back up. This is what causes grown men to be afraid to express themselves. Guys, learn from life, learn from what I'm trying to teach you. I'm trying to help you guys be better spouses. And I've experienced that too, not with my own children, but with my husband. I may not have been the best wife to him if I put him second. So learn from my mistake. Put your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your spouse, put them first in line. And ladies, allow your men to be vulnerable. Don't make fun of them, because the first time that they open up to you about something that's important, and if you make fun of them or you judge them, believe me, that is the last time that they will ever trust you. They're going to know, you know what, I'm not safe, because if I open up about something that's bothering me or that I'm afraid of or that I'm unsure about, all I'm going to get is ridicule, and I'm going to be the laughing stock. So they won't do that. Ladies, be careful how you treat your guys. And I'm only talking about you because I'm a girl, I'm a lady, and I'm going through this, and I'm hearing these things about from grown men who are looking for partners, but they want to do things differently this time. They want a partner who's open to great communication. They want a partner who's loving and will show them kindness and appreciation. They want a partner who's a great communicator, especially when things get difficult. All of these men with whom I've spoken and had a connection this past week have said, I want to find somebody that at the first sign of discussion or differences of opinion, they're not going to start yelling. Guys do not like women who yell. Girls, listen to me. Men do not appreciate, nor do they like a woman who is dramatic and yells. That is not the way to communicate properly. Thankfully, I was never, and I'm still not ever, I never yelled at my kids, and I definitely did not ever yell at my spouse, because that's not how you communicate. Okay, so ladies, do not think that yelling and raising your voice and wanting to have the last word is a good way to communicate, because it is not. It is not. And believe me, if you yell at your partner one time, he's going to be shocked and he's going to have a different opinion of you. But if you continue to do that, he might break up with you. And if I were a man and my girlfriend yelled at me or my partner yelled at me, first time I'd say, hey, check yourself. Check yourself, because it's not appropriate. I'm not yelling at you. I don't like it. The second time I'd say, 3 strikes and I'm out of here. It wouldn't be a threat. It would be the truth. It would just be a truth. Like, okay, somebody who is abused, first time, shame on you. No, I'm sorry. First time, shame on the person causing the abuse. Second time, shame on you for putting up with it. So whoever puts up with screaming and drama and yelling and throwing shit, you're an idiot for staying. If you stay with someone like that, then you deserve it. Don't be somebody who's aggressive. Don't be somebody who's yelling. Nobody likes to be talked to in a yelling, screaming tone. So don't do it. Guys and gals, don't do it. But I'm telling you what these men have told me. They want somebody with whom they can feel vulnerable, somebody who's a good communicator, somebody who will want a solution to a problem, not just want to shut down or walk away. They want physical touch. They want to feel appreciated. Guys, girls, ladies, when you find a good guy that's a hard worker, that works long hours, that treats you well, that loves on you, you better freaking show him some appreciation. It doesn't have to be something big. You could have a warm meal. You can make a sandwich and write a love note. You can greet him with a happy smile at the door. You can greet him with a big hug. It just takes something that small, ladies. You don't have to wear fancy underclothes. Well, I mean, that is a plus, but I mean on a day-to-day basis. Guys appreciate the small things. They want to see you smiling when he gets home. They want a hug. They want you to give them some space to decompress, not just have them walk in the house and you start bitching or complaining about your day. They've been out there working hard. Men work hard. They work hard. They deserve to come home to warmth and affection and kindness. Remember that, ladies. I'm trying to help you, and I'm also learning along the way, because all of these things that I'm hearing from these men, I'm going to work on that, because I want a partner. I know that when I find that person, I'm going to lavish them with love. I'm going to be a better listener. I'm going to listen more than I talk. I'm going to be open to the different styles of communication because I do want to resolve issues. I'm not going to walk away at the first sign of trouble. I want physical touch. I want to be held and hugged and kissed, and I want somebody to walk by and touch my hair. I want them to pat me on the back or touch my shoulder. I want all of these things that I'm hearing from these men, and I'm thinking, I can do that. Okay, I am getting closer. Every time I have a date or I meet somebody, I feel like I'm definitely learning. I'm growing as a woman, and I'm becoming a better version of myself. So once God, the universe, brings me my final partner, my life partner, my husband, I am going to be ready. Ladies, I'm going to be ready. Emotionally ready. I'm going to open my heart. I'm going to be more loving. I will definitely take things more calm, and I will shower them with love because that's what I want. You guys know that whatever you put out into the universe, it comes back to you tenfold. So going forward, I already know the kind of person that I will be for my future partner. I know. I am ready. I am ready. I'm waiting for God, the universe, to bring me my partner. I'm ready for him. So if you're out there, you see me, you hear me, you know what I want, come and find me. Find me, chase me down. I'm teasing you guys. But I will continue giving you my advice and sharing my experiences. We'll see about this weekend what happens. Let's see if those two gentlemen actually follow through and drive here to my area to meet me. I'll keep you guys posted. Stay open-minded. Ladies, stay calm, no yelling. Be good communicators. Be loving. Whatever you put out into the universe comes back to you. So stay kind. Stay true to yourself. Folks, guys and gals, keep working on yourselves. Keep smiling. Keep dancing. Y a ver que pasa. Love you guys. If you haven't already, like my channel, subscribe to my channel. I want to like because it'll make me feel better. I would appreciate if you subscribed, and I will continue to bring you and share with you my journey that is life and this dating. I love you guys. Adios.